So the world expected and would have supported a focused, sustained effort to pursue and bring the murderous band of criminals to justice. They did and would have and still do. But after 10 years of manipulated and corrupted intelligence, continual war, practices and policies, yes, of torture, secret armies of assassins, global violations of human rights, indiscriminate violence with countless civilian casualties, and trillions of dollars spent, we have lost the high ground. We had the high ground, and we lost the high ground. The good news is that in the 10 years and now more since, a better response is now being constructed. I would say particularly by people who were in the 4th grade or less during those days. Those of you who were my son's age now in the 4th grade, it happened to you, and now your generation is responding, I think, in some very different kinds of ways. Now, I can't tell all those stories, but I could, if we had time, talk about how people of faith in many different traditions are reacting differently than the adults in their war on terror. I could tell you about pastors defending Muslim congregations, Christian churches, literally circling around Muslim congregations when they're being attacked by other citizens. I could tell you about people praying together, fasting together, sharing Ramadan together, talking together. There were never conversations in churches, Wednesday night conversations, with Islamic leaders, imams, to talk about the meaning of Islam before 9/11. Afterwards, you had hundreds of people coming to those conversations in the Presbyterian Church midweek. None of that was talked about very much in the media response because the media loves conflict. So when there is conflict, that's what they like to report. I could tell you endless stories of churches, pastors, lay people coming together to understand and protect each other, but none of that gets reported in the news. And I'll say briefly, when Daisy Khan, who's coming next week, when she's an amazing Muslim global leader, Muslim woman, leader of global Muslim women, often also happens to be married to Faisal Ruaf, who, and they were the two who were in the spotlight when their Islamic center was attacked for being too close to ground zero, and the controversy blew up on the 9th anniversary of 9/11. I came home from a vacation just when that happened, and 10 days from driving in the garage, I found myself on all the networks defending Daisy Khan and Faisal Ruaf, who are wonderful people. And my message was, my friends are not terrorists, really. And that guy in Florida, the pastor who wants to burn Korans, Terry Jones, who had 30 people in his church, that was all. He's going to burn Korans. He became an international figure overnight around the world. I said, he really doesn't represent all of us. He's an evangelical. I am too. He doesn't, in fact, no evangelicals I know even know who he is in Florida. And now he's a global figure. He wants to burn Korans. It was a horrible, horrible week. Every night on those cable shows. And I pleaded with CNN and the others. I said, please, tell another story. Tell different stories. There are other things going on. Finally, on Sunday morning, I turned on CNN, my first day off in the week, and I saw them finally tell another story from a year before. Heart Song Church, Bible Belt, outside Memphis, heard that the Memphis Islamic Cultural Center was coming to their neighborhood, right across the street. So Steve Jones, who's a Methodist pastor, put up a sign in his front yard of the church. Heart Song Church welcomes Memphis Islamic Cultural Center. The Muslims were astonished. They came by 2 days later and said, knock, knock, Pastor Jones, you're the pastor? Yes. We were hoping to be ignored, and you welcomed us. Why did you welcome us? Jones said, well, Jesus says we're supposed to love our neighbors. We hear you're going to be a neighbor. Welcome, neighbor. We don't know much about Islam, but we like to learn. Before long, the pork barbecues included halal meat, kids playing with kids, adults talking to adults, having dinner, doing work with the homeless together, tutoring kids, and over a year they became friends. Then the Muslims said a year later, it's Ramadan, you know, Ramadan, when Muslims pray and fast. And we got nowhere to have it because our center isn't done yet. Could we use your basement? Pastor, he says, use the sanctuary. Really? So every night, here come the Muslims, and here come the Methodist hospitality people. Come on in. Now the bathrooms are here. Coffee's here. Oh, is coffee okay? Not knowing a thing, but saying you. So here they were now on CNN, the imam and the pastor. Clearly, they're friends. Clearly, they know each other. Clearly, they respect each other. And you could see they like each other and maybe even love each other. They've come to be friends. So I called Steve. Steve, I said, thank you very much. You made my week and my Sunday morning. Finally, I saw something on TV about Christians that I was proud of. Finally, first time in a week. He said, Jim, can I tell you about a call I got last night? I said, yeah. Got a call from Pakistan. A room full of Muslim men in Kashmir, Pakistan, one of the most conflicted places in the world. They said, Pastor, you the pastor? He says, yes. We saw that segment on CNN. We all watched it. And for a long time, we were just silent. No one knew what to say. Finally, one of us said, I think God might be speaking to us through this man. Then another one said, how can we kill these people? Then another one who doesn't speak English, so I'll tell you what he said. He went out to a little Christian church near our mosque, and with his Muslim hands, he washed the inside and the outside of that Christian church. He cleaned it with his Muslim hands. Now we're all back in this room. It's 1:30 a.m. our time. We just want to call you and tell you, Pastor, tell your congregation that we don't hate them. We love them. And for our part, because of what you did, for our part, we're going to take care of that little Christian church next to our mosque for the rest of our lives. That's what he said. So, metrics, you tell me what works better, that or drones in Pakistan? Tell me what works better for foreign policy. Now, if we had time, we don't, I could tell you story after story about all of that. But one day I was sitting at home, and this young guy came to our offices right after 9/11, and he said, I want to see Jim. And my team said, well, Jim is here, but he hasn't been here for 2 weeks. He's been traveling, got meetings all day, and you can't just walk in without an appointment. You gotta wait. You know, well, I came across the country, so I'm sorry you can't wait. Well, this young guy, I've learned, is not easily dissuaded. So he found out where I lived, and he went and sat on my steps. And I got back at 9 o'clock that night, and there he was, sitting on the steps. A young Muslim kid at the time. His name is Ibu Patel. You might know that name. Ibu is now the head of the Interfaith Youth Corps in Chicago. He said, I came across the country to see you. Could I just have 15 minutes? He got more than 15 minutes. We've been talking ever since. He's a young Muslim leader, now one of the most influential, whose idea is to bring young people from different traditions together on college campuses and cities across the nation and get them involved in action for community service. That's what he does, and it's happened all over the country. Daisy Khan, she'll come and tell you what she's doing. All kinds of new things are happening, but CNN would rather cover a pastor in Florida who has 30 people and wants to burn a Koran.